Hi, it's the end of the month, the end of June, so I've got this second half of the month to talk to you about with my reading, and I can't believe that I think I read about 10 books this second half of the month. Amazing. I started off with Percival Everett's Dr. No. I'd read The Trees as part of the book along list last year, and I was intrigued to see what he did this time. And this, as it says on the back, is an ingenious madcap novel about supervillains and nothing. Walakitu is a professor of mathematics, and he's also an expert on nothing. And then this billionaire, John Sill, wants to work with Walakitu to break into Fort Knox and steal a shoebox containing nothing. And it's just a madcap novel. I had such fun reading it. You could say it's about nothing, but you've got supervillains and sharks and all sorts of stuff like that. I had real good fun with that one. The second one I read was a NetGalley arc that comes out on the 6th of July. And it's The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mikki Brammer. And this has got a sort of midnight library feel to it, as it's about death. But it's not depressing, it's about hope, and it's about how we should appreciate life and live life to the full with no regrets. Clover's a death doula. She supports the dying. She make sure that they're not alone when they die. She's had their comfort in their last days. Her parents died when she was a child. She's almost alone herself. And it's a story about her taking her first steps to life, to living, to getting out of this rut that she is in. It's a really warm book, this one. Then I moved on to Japanese crime. Tokyo Express by Seicho Matsumoto, and it starts with two bodies on a beach, looking as though it's death by suicide, a love suicide pact. But the local detective thinks that it's not quite right, and then Mihara, a young detective from Tokyo, he shares the local detective's suspicions, and it's a story about him unpicking this web that the villain has created. The crime is so complex, and Mihara, you follow him as he painstakingly unpicks everything. That was a really good, very tightly woven book, that one. Then another NetGalley, and this was by Cara Hunter, and it's Murder in the Family. And this is gripping, full of twists. It's a mixture of scripts and timelines and texts and fan forums and maps and reviews and emails and voicemails. You've got Guy, who's 30-year-old and a filmmaker, collaborating with Nick, who's the producer of a programme called Infamous, a series that examines old cases. And for the 7th series, it's the 20th anniversary of what is called the Cougar murder. And the Cougar murder was the murder of a 26-year-old Luke Ryder, who happens to be Guy's stepfather. And the format of the programme is that Nick gathers together various experts and they work through the case, and each programme is these experts coming together, talking about what they found out and then looking for the next step. And it's almost like watching a car crash in slow motion, because the experts, they clash, and there's twists, there's secrets, and you realise that everybody has got a secret. And as for the ending, well, I enjoyed that one. Then I moved on to Colleen Hoover, the first Colleen Hoover book that I've read, and this is Verity. And it's very dark at times, and you've got triggers for violence and child abuse, and it's also got a creepy feel to it. Lauren is a struggling writer, and she's hired to write the final 3 books in the series written by Verity Crawford. Verity's had this accident and can't continue, but the publishers want the series to carry on. So Lauren goes to live with the family. She goes to live with Jeremy, their young son, and Verity, who's bedridden, because she needs to go through Verity's office and find the plans for the next series. And she discovers a hidden autobiography written by Verity that throws a completely different light on the woman. You switch allegiances through the book. I enjoyed that one. It's dark and creepy, and you end up. It's a blurring of fact and fiction, truth and fiction. Which is right. Then another NetGalley that comes out on the 8th of August, and it's a debut novel by Noel O'Regan, and it's called Though the Bodies Fall. And as with all Irish writers, you have this terrific sense of place. You can see the waves, you can hear the silence and the birds. We've got 2 timelines. Michael in the present and Michael as he's growing up. As a child, he's living with his parents in Kerry Head, which is got a history for suicide. It's a well-known suicide spot. And his parents take it upon themselves to help these people. If they spot anybody going to the cliff edge, they try and talk them down, talk them back, try and save them. And now in present time, Michael is in this house and he's doing exactly the same thing. He's watching for people to come so that he can save them. When his father died, his mother got 12-year-old Michael to go and help her. And it's the emotional impact that this had on him. And it's the impact it had on his sisters, who now want him to sell the house. And through flashbacks and reunions with his sisters, you get an idea of the damage that was done. It's an exploration of the cost of putting others before yourself always. Then the next one, I forgot it. It's up there on the shelf. And it's The Crooked Little Pieces, Volume 3 by Sophia Lambton. And it's the 3rd volume of the Van der Holt sisters story, which we read in, we started in their childhood in Volume 1, and we're now in late 1940s. And Isabel is head of music, and Annalisa is still in her psychiatry practice, and she's still obsessed with her own therapist, Susanna. And we've got Isabel almost at loggerheads with the new head of the school, and we've got Annalisa almost turning into a spy to try and find the solution to what she sees as to the problem that's held Susanna back all these years. We see Isabel having a little bit of fun as well along the way, and I can't wait to see what happens next in this series. Then another NetGalley, it comes out 10th of August, I think this one is. I didn't write it down. What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. And it's one of these books that makes life seem better. It's one of these Japanese books that makes life seem better. You follow 5 people as they go into the reference section of the library and meet the librarian, who asks them, what are you looking for? All of these 5 are having a hard time. We've got a new mother who's been sidelined in her job. We've got someone who's retired. We've got someone who's out of work. But the librarian gives them a book list for whatever topic they're after, plus a random book, which seems to have no sense at all with anything. And a little felt gift. And it's how everything, they discover something about themselves to give them hope. Then I moved on to this one, Claire Foster's Claire Keegan's Foster, which is such a beautiful novel, heartbreaking, 80 pages of absolute joy, about a young girl who is sent to family relatives because her mother is pregnant and she can't cope. And it is just so beautiful, the affection that she gets from this couple that she stays with. And it's one of Claire Keegan's ambiguous endings where you're left to decide what happens next. Absolutely adored this one. Then the next one was an audible book that I listened to, and it's Small Worlds by Caleb Azumah Nelson. And it's a coming of age. Stephen's our narrator. We watch him as he's finishing school, going to uni, love, loss, griefs. And he talks about the small worlds that we inhabit that are important to us. And it's rhythmical prose, full of music and cooking. And the story of a black man in London. That was really, really good. And then the author narrates it on Audible. And the final book I read was this one, which was longlisted for the Dylan Thomas Prize this year, No Land to Light On, by Yara Ygheib. And it's a story about Sama and Hardy, or Hardy, and it's after Executive Order 13769 is passed in January 2017, stopping anyone from Muslim countries entering America. And Hardy has gone back to Jordan for his father's funeral, and he's not allowed back into the country. And Sama is pregnant. She goes into premature labour, and these two are separated. And it's their story. And it's a heartbreaking story, and the writing is gorgeous. So those are all the books I read in the second half of the month. Adding together all the other books that I read, my book of June is Claire Keegan. No surprise, really. A small book, but so full of emotion and beauty, and I absolutely adored it. So let's see what July brings. Happy reading. Take care.